Yeah, g'day YouTubers, Tinker O'Toole with another video. Hope you enjoy the video today. Please subscribe to the channel. Any comments, thumbs up. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. Yeah, look, we're just going to have a look at the geometry between the Hexa and the standard full chisel RS chain. So this is Rapid Super, and this is RH for Rapid Hexa. Comes in a kit, and you get two chains, file, and the handle. So they're identical except for the top plate angle. The top plate angle on here is 25 degrees, and the top plate angle on here is 30 degrees, and the side plate on here comes in at 60 degrees and exits at 60 degrees, and on the standard full chisel it has the C shape. So it comes in at 60 degrees and then it has that nice C shape. So we'll look at the profile of the Hexa, and we'll do a close-up and you'll be able to see the difference in the kerf. Yeah, g'day YouTubers, Tinker O'Toole again here with another video. Today we're going to talk about narrow kerf chains. So these are both Stihl chains here. One is a narrower kerf than the other one, so be interesting if you can pick it and you can see the difference. If you look closely, you should be able to pick up which one is the narrower kerf. So the first chain here is a full chisel. Standard full chisel chain, 30 degrees on the top plate angle here. So that's 30 degrees on the top plate angle, and it's standard 3/8. Now the second chain is Hexa, and if you look closely, it's 25 degrees on the top plate. Now the distance on the widest part of the link is from this point to that point is 4.1 millimeters on the Hexa. And on the standard chain, I think you can see that the tooth is a bit wider. It's 4.5 millimeters wide. And if you have a look here, you can see that the tooth extends a little bit further past the raker. And if you have a look here, you can see that it's wider. It sticks out further. Both of them, you can see where the inside is right on the edge of the drive link. Same as this one here. It's right on the edge of the drive link. But it's the outside. It's the outside here that protrudes out more. And it's a 0.5 millimeter. That's all it is. It's just a 0.5 millimeter. But it's a 0.5 millimeter on the right side, and it's a 0.5 millimeter on the left side. So the Stihl Hexa cuts a kerf of 1 millimeter approximately. It's about 0.45, just under a millimeter. Okay, so look, we've done some measurements and we'll just go over that again. The Hexa, which is this chain here, the tooth width is 4.1 millimeter and the tooth width of the standard one is 4.5 millimeters. Now, that means that the larger tooth, which is the standard tooth, protrudes out roughly about 0.45 of a millimeter than this one. So this one doesn't protrude out as much. I think you can see it, that the point sticks out just that little bit more. That's around 0.5 millimeter. So a standard chain, full chisel chain, Stihl chain, RS 3/8, has a kerf of 7.6 millimeters. The Hexa has a kerf of 6.7, so it's 0.9 of a millimeter smaller. Now that's more than 10% less cut, and that will definitely cut through the log much quicker. So that's the Hexa, and that's the kerf. And I really wanted to get a close-up like this so that you could see it. I think you can see that this just sticks out a little bit more than this one. This one's a little bit skinnier. It's only 0.5 millimetre, but also remember it looks a little bit bigger because this is 30 degrees here and this is 25. So having the longer angle makes the tooth look a little bit bigger. Anyway, that's it. So narrow kerf chain. We're going to do some time cutting tests on a log of approximately 350 millimetres, and we're expecting the Hexa to come in number one. So we'll just pull these chains off and have a look at the Hexa. Should be able to see it quite good if we lay it down. There it is there. Yeah, look, I decided to grab 2 more chains, so they're all full chisels. So the first one is the Hexa, and as you can see, yeah, it's got that narrow profile. The second one is a Stihl full chisel. The third one is a Hexa copy, so we're going to look at that because a lot of people trying to copy Hexa. And although admittedly the kerf is the same size, and the last one is the same as this one, except I've ground it with a grinder. So we'll have a look at the last one, which is this one here, and that's a standard full chisel that's just simply been ground with a normal grinder. And we'll pull that off and have a bit of a look at it. And I think you will see, you can see that tooth quite clearly. Bring it over here. Has a little bit of a hook on it. There it is if you look at it from the back of the tooth, going from the opposite direction. And there it is again on the side plate view. So that's a fairly standard type 25 degrees too, by the way. Now that's a full chisel. Now the next chain, this one here, the third one, is exactly the same as the chain that I just showed you, except the only difference is that they've tried to put a bit of a Hexa shape on it. I think you can see it there, that little point. So there's a lot of people going, a lot of companies around that are sort of like doing a bit of a copy of that. Now, you can get a grinding wheel and shape it so you get that shape, a little bit of mucking around. But yeah, if you're going to sell chain like this, there's no point. Now, this is exactly as the same chain as I had before. And as you can see, totally different shape by the time you put the grinding wheel through it. And even if you put a file through that, you're never going to maintain that shape. You would need a special file like a Hexa file, and even that doesn't look true Hexa shape. Similar, but not exactly. So, as I said, there's quite a few people out there copying it. Now, the next chain, this one here, this is a Stihl full chisel. Doesn't look like Hexa. It's just standard full chisel chain. There it is there. Got a little tiny point on that, just a very, very little tiny one, not much of a C shape. A file makes a better C shape than a machine. This is done in the machine shop, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. That's got plenty of metal underneath to give protection. You can see the way that it's ground, looking at the back of the tooth. And there's looking at the tooth from the side plate. So that's that one. And the last one is obviously the Hexa. And we've already shown that one, but we'll just show it one more time. Shows up good on a white background. There's the back of the Hexa. You can see how it really comes in. If you have a look, where is it? I'll see if I can hold it. you really see how the angle of the hexa comes right down just below the bottom of the inside of the tooth. So when you look at the hexa, you can see that it's slightly more. It's about halfway down, a good halfway down, maybe a fraction more on the side plate. And as I said, the actual tooth is 4.1 millimeters. So the side plate here doesn't protrude out as much. And the other thing is, when you actually look at the drive link, you notice that the tooth covers a drive link. There's the drive link there. You can see that the edge of the tooth on the right-hand side, where my finger is here, the back of the tooth, which has got the tape, it covers the drive link, and the front goes, you can see that the front of the tooth goes over the drive link. So between the left and the right tooth, you look at there's a right tooth and there's a left tooth, they overlap. The inner part of the tooth, that leading edge, they overlap each other on the drive link. So they just cross over the edge of the drive link either side. So you definitely get good overlap of the two teeth overlapping the drive link like that, which means that the actual tooth will cut to the left and the right tooth will pick up and remove any other timber that was left over. So they work together by overlapping each other, and that clears out the gap. Now, the kerf, or the gap, the kerf is the cutting gap that it's created by the tool. And normally on the narrower kerf hexa, it's 6.7 millimeters wide, so it leaves a gap of 6.7 mil. And on a standard full chisel RS, which is Rapid Super, it leaves 7.6 millimeter gap. So there is a big difference there. That's probably about 15% difference. So the hexa tooth is 4.1 millimeters at its widest part of the tooth, which is this part here, being brand new. So brand new, it's 4.1 millimeters, and on a standard RS chain, it's 4.5 millimeters approximately. So the hexa side plate looks like a V turned to the side. And it's, as I said, it's 60 degrees in and 60 degrees out. That gives it a span of 120 degrees. They intersect roughly about halfway down the side plate. And hexa definitely cuts about 10% more than standard full chisel. And that would be 20% more than semi-chisel. And definitely lasts longer. Now, the other thing is, yes, you can go out and buy a hexa file. That's not a problem. But what if you're doing a lot of sharpening and you need to do it on a grinding wheel? Well, if you've got a Stihl USG grinder, which I have, they do sell a hexa wheel, but you can dress a hexa wheel yourself. And we've got one here. I'll just bring it out. Hopefully you might be able to see it. I don't know. Yeah, you can see that angle on there. So there's two angles. I don't know. Yeah, the two angles, if you zoom in there, you might be able to see that. At the side of the wheel on the left-hand side, that is a 15-degree angle. So at the side of the wheel here, we've ground that at 15 degrees. And on the bottom there, we've put that at about a 15-degree angle well. So you've got 15-degree angle here and a 15-degree angle there. That gives you 120 degrees. I think you can see that 120 degrees there. There it is. You can see that good now. So that's what you've got to do on your wheel. Now, the other thing that's important, a lot of people make the mistake, this edge that's here that you see on the side of the wheel, you only want that about 4 millimeters in height. You don't want that anymore. So when that's coming in, because what it's going to look like, your wheel's going to be on an angle like that, and at 40 degrees. So on an Oregon grinder, so this wheel's off an Oregon type grinder, you want to be setting that at 40 degrees, because remember, sorry, not 40, 45 degrees, because this is 15 degrees here. So that's going to make 45 and 15 is going to make you 60, plus you've got it tilted at 45, and this angle here, the 15 degrees here, will make it 60 degrees there. So there's your 120 degree hexa. And I've tried this wheel out before, and it really does work well. So, look, that's probably all I can say about hexa. As I said, if you... what I did do, I got a spare hexa chain. I keep a spare hexa chain so that when I'm dressing the wheel, I can put the wheel into the hexa without it running and just use that brand new chain as my profile. Okay, what I'm going to do now is just give you a quick tutorial on dressing your stone using an Oregon grinder. Now, the wheel that I've got in here is a small wheel, 3.2 millimeter, so I'm creating my even own hexa for, I've got 3/8 low profile full chisel, so I'm putting a hexa grind on that as well. Same principle applies. This wheel that I showed before, we've got another wheel here. This is the other hexa wheel that we showed before, and as you can see, it's a lot fatter. So this wheel here is for your standard 3/8 chain, and this wheel here is for your 3/8 low profile wheel. So you've got to put two angles on the wheel. You've got to dress the wheel. You need to put 15 degrees. If this is a vertical plane here, we need 15 degree angle on it. If this is a horizontal plane, we need to put another 15 degrees on that. That'll give us a total of 120 degrees, which is what hexa is. 60 in, 60 out. Okay, so how do we get that angle on there? The easiest way. The easiest way to get the vertical axis is to tilt the head to 75 degrees. So that's tilted at 75 degrees. We'll just zoom back out here. And get your grinding block. Start your grinder. Bring your grinding wheel down and put a bevel on the side of the wheel here. You only want about a 3 millimeter bevel on the 3/8 low profile wheel. And on the standard 3/8 wheel, you want about a 4 mil bevel. Okay, so once you've got that, you've got your bevel there, you need to put it back to 90 degrees. Now, you can't tilt the grinder over any more than 90 degrees, so what I've actually done, and you can make it out of plastic, I made a little bit of a ski ramp, and this ski ramp is 15 degrees, and that's just a matter of winding your backstop all the way back as far as it can go. Now, this ski ramp can be made out of plastic. You could use an ice cream container and make a ski ramp using a protractor. So that will set you 15 degrees. Lock that in a position. Sit your grinding block on there. So you're at an angle of 15 degrees. You're at 90 degrees on the head. Bring it down and go backwards and forwards, and you'll get a 15 degree angle on there. Now, as I said, this is a 3.2 millimeter wheel, and I'm using it for 3/8 low profile, creating a hexa profile because I believe that it cuts better and stays a little bit sharper. The only difference is it doesn't have a narrower curve. It's still the same curve. So for my standard 3/8 chain, I use obviously this wheel here, which is hexa 3/8, which is, as you can see, 145 by 22 by 4.8 millimeter wheel. So this is your hexa, and that's, as you can see, there's your profile there. We'll just zoom in and you can see it a little bit better. We showed that before. So there's your 120 degrees. And look, that's it. It's as simple as that. Now, if you don't want to make the little ski ramp, well, look, you can do it by hand, freehand. You can do the whole lot by freehand. Provided that you've got a hexa chain that you can use as a template, you can do it by freehand. It just means that you've got to take a little bit at a time. But only one last point to remember. On this wheel here, on the standard 3/8 wheel, make sure that your beveled edge is no more than 4 millimeters and 3 millimeters on if you're considering doing low profile hexa on that. Make sure that you've only got about a 3mm chamfer on there, because the more of a chamfer that you put on this wheel, especially the thinner one, you don't have much on the horizontal axis. So yeah, the more that you come over, the more bevel it's on there. The angle's okay. It just means that the height, just don't have a real high bevel, because the higher the bevel, the more of the grinding wheel that you'll wear away. So 3mm height, that's all you want, a 3mm height. No more than that, and 4 millimeters on your other wheel, your larger wheel. Thanks for watching. Give us a thumbs up. Bye for now.